Woj, what is the latest on CP3's future?
Greeny, I'm told a really interesting thing has happened since Wednesday when the rest of the league found out that the Suns were actually not waiving and stretching Chris Paul's contract now. It spurred on a flurry of trade talk and trade calls to Phoenix centered around Chris Paul. Now, there are teams that would like to see if they could stack up enough contracts to take on his $30 million for this season and keep him, perhaps even flip him at the trade deadline. There are other teams who would trade for him and treat it like a salary cap savings. They would not guarantee his contract before that June 28th deadline, and then he would become a free agent. And Greeny, if Chris Paul is out there as a free agent this summer, look at the two teams in LA, the Clippers and Lakers, the Knicks in New York, the Golden State Warriors. Those would all be potential destinations for Chris Paul, who would then sign a deal at a much lower number than the $30 million he's guaranteed in Phoenix if he stays there past that June 28th deadline.
All right, outstanding, Woj. Thank you very much for that. And let me bring it back up here quickly, guys, in just the moment that we have left before we leave for ABC. What do you make of that? You hear Woj's report, Chris Paul, the possibility of his future. What would you like to see happen?
I want him in a championship situation. He's accomplished practically everything else. He's one of the elite point guards this game has ever seen. And the one thing missing from his resume is a title. If you don't stay in Phoenix, make sure you go someplace where you got a legitimate chance to win the chip.
And it turns out we do have more time than I thought, so I can actually ask you then to expand on that thought. But the places he mentioned, Lakers, Clippers, Warriors, Knicks, which of those gives him the best chance?
First of all, avoid the Clippers like the plague because we can't trust that Kawhi Leonard will be healthy. Avoid them like the plague. Los Angeles with Anthony Davis and LeBron James is iffy because you know they're going to miss their shared games. But as long as they're available for the postseason, I'd love to see CP3 and Anthony Davis in pick-and-roll situations. New York Knicks obviously viable to some degree, but I don't think that spells championship for them. And you have Jalen Brunson, so I don't think that's neither. I'd say the Lakers.
What gives him the best chance? If his we all know the one thing that's missing. What gives him the best chance to get it?
I believe he goes to the Lakers because you need to go somewhere also where they have other young guards where he's not going to be required to overly tax himself during the regular season. They have Austin Reeves. They may sign D'Angelo Russell to come back. LeBron James is a primary ball handler in a lot of situations. So I think he ends up with the Lakers. But if I had to give him a wild card, and I know his family is in California, so that's probably where he's going to end up, the Miami Heat. That would be a great location for Chris Paul. Think about, we talk about Heat culture. He'll fit right in what they do. They don't overtax you during the regular season. They focus on the postseason.
But no one knows him better than Michael Wilbon. So, Michael, what is your sense of this?
Well, I mean, the Lakers make as much sense for a lot of reasons at this point of Chris's life. His family.
Right.
I'm still hopeful for Phoenix. I mean, remember, the Suns were disappointing to a lot of people, but unfairly so in that they played, 9 regular season games together?
Good point.
There was nothing like a training camp. There wasn't even a half season. So, if he was able to play with them, they have to make some roster improvements. There's no doubt about that. But with Booker, who I know how much he loves, respects, and the chemistry they have, with Kevin Durant, who can play with anybody. Now, the interesting thing that came up in that Woj report was Golden State. But like Jalen, I think that the Lakers fit. We know about his relationship with LeBron James over the years. I'm in agreement with Stephen A. about the Clippers. They just got too many things going on that you can't count on. And there's one thing left. Look, I know how hard Chris Paul has worked on things like diet and conditioning. People have no idea. They only point out that he gets hurt. Chris has gone to he has explored every avenue in the universe. There are times on Zoom calls we've had where he's trying to convince me I should be on the Tom Brady diet. I'm like, okay, I'm a lot older than 38, and it's not going to help my career. But I know what this means to Chris Paul and the dedication that he has and the commitment that he has. And so like these guys, I just hope that he lands somewhere. If he leaves Phoenix, and I don't want to see him leave Phoenix yet, Land somewhere where he can possibly win.
And then not only that, where's money? And I'm saying I'm never going to say money shouldn't mean anything to any of us because it means everything to a lot of us. But the bottom line is this. Chris Paul is such an incredible role model, such a model citizen, such a consummate professional. And he has been that way throughout his entire career. Money after his playing days are over are not going to be a problem.
Right. No.
You see him as a pitchman now. You'll see it later on along with various business ventures because he's a brilliant dude. Heart's in the right place. He's about the right things. He's going to be just fine. Go someplace where you got a shot to win. Don't you dare go someplace else without no championship to the championship.
Final word.
He won't. I agree with you, Stephen. I would not. I believe he ultimately ends up with the Los Angeles Lakers, is my guess.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.